week. Start with my daytime frame kind of profiles. Last week I was talking about the potential to have this build into a value balance range. A value balance range is simply just value building, higher, low, higher, lower, higher, lower over and over again. So what that, kind of sets up for is continuation to the upside should take Friday's high out and push us higher. Any move that takes out Friday's low, I would expect to see continuation of what we saw over kind of the last 5 days as far as the market, moving higher, then aggressively moving lower, then aggressively moving higher, kind of back and forth on each day time frame. As I'm coming in and we see kind of how Globex traded last night on the ES here. Obviously, we made a new all-time high in the Globex session again by a point or bit. And then, of course, we pulled back right into kind of this 44-48 area, which is where I have the potential for support to be. So as it stands right now, Globex has done a good job of holding that support around 44. Real change, I think, will occur if we get through that support. Then we can look for the potential to get back down to that 29.32 area and see if a bid will step in there. And then, of course, if that doesn't work out, then we could easily be looking at that 4,300 number once again. If they continue to find support here, there's nothing to say that we don't open somewhere in the 60 area, 58-60 range if they move this up and rally into the open. If that happens, the previous all-time high prior to Friday, which is right around that 54 area, would be my first area I would look for a supportive bid, kind of using 48 as a backstop to potentially get long. But where it stands right now in the ES, I think I'm more comfortable getting long if we open aggressively and make a new all-time high fairly quickly. I think that draws me in a little bit more for the potential to get long with a pullback for a possible trend higher. Otherwise, I think sticking with the potential of fading against the all-time high and any kind of weakness or any kind of high volume that starts to enter the market towards or at the all-time high is still probably relatively the best odds play, given the fact that that's kind of been the theme of the last little bit here, where they run it up to the all-time high and then they fade it back. Looking at our day time frame on the ES, we're really having troubles breaking above the all-time high and running. They continue to make a new all-time high, but it's kind of the same process we've been watching as far as they push an all-time high. It's kind of like hitting their head against a wall, and then they liquidate, and then they, find a new buyer, try and do it again over and over again. So, if we continue to fail at the all-time high, you have to think the potential to pull back towards the 21-day moving average is still there. And if that takes place, that's probably another good place to reload on the buy side. Taking a look at RTY. So RTY's daily kind of played out exactly how you would expect it to play. As far as you had multiple down days, broke between the below the 21-day, below the 50-day. Big stickler. I don't sell below those levels just because I think it's generally does not end well if you do sell or get married to a short below the 21-day especially. And what we had the recovery rally to come retest the low side of the 21-day just above the 50-day. Very natural move. If on the day time frame we pull back, but we can hold that green day's low, somewhere around it's probably 2220 area. Somewhere in that area, if we can pull back and hold that, then you have to think the potential is there for, this to be the retest of what is excess and then the continuation higher to make one more attempt or another attempt at making a new all-time high and finding a bid above this 2320 range. Let's pull up the profile here. It's a little more. So what I would look for, is this is a very natural move. We talked about this. He had multiple days of liquidation. They came into an area kind of support. We're able to find it. Now, any kind of move back towards, this area, this 2202, 2210 range, you have to think is a viable opportunity if it's not aggressive. So say they pull back to 2240 and they start to find a bid, even if they stop the one time frame and on the day time frame, as far as Friday's low goes, I think they would have to take out that Globex low for it to actually be change. So I think buying anywhere against this Globex low initially this week, whether it's today or tomorrow or the next day, I think is still the strongest odds play. Likewise, if we open and really get going here, 83 to 85 is already shown in the Globex session. That's a good area of resistance. And likewise, there's a larger print about, an 8 wide area where I would observe for, the market to potentially slow itself down and see if a seller would enter the market. If they can pop above this, I'm perfectly okay with looking to get long, somewhere above Friday's high, as long as it's an aggressive move higher, as long as, volume is tapering as far as, I'm a big person where I think, lower volume favors buying in this market, higher volume favors selling. So if the NYSE volume, is not increasing, I think the potential is there for the Momo to take over and actually push us higher. So that's kind of what I would watch for today as well. If volume is low, once again, I think, that probably does favor, the buy side more than the sell side. Now, looking at NQ, NQ on the day time frame, we've talked about this trend line. We've talked about how, what it is, what it means, so on and so forth, and how it's not an end-all be-all trend line. More importantly is the fact that they really have, they really struggle to find a buyer above this line, similar to what we see in RTY above that, 2320 area, similar to here with NQ, where as soon as they get above this level or this, moving trend line as it moves up, they really just struggle to push away from that. And anytime they have pushed away from that, they get drawn right back down to it in a pretty aggressive fashion. So for me, I am not a buyer in NQ up here. It can continue on, so be it. But as a daytime frame trader, I just don't see the opportunity or the odds being in my favor to be on the long side. That being said, I don't really see the odds being in my favor to be on the short side. So for me, NQ is a non-tradable market right now, which is fine. It's still going to give us good, references, good information as far as the other markets are concerned. So I will still observe it. Now, that being said, we have some interesting levels below us in NQ, but I have nothing above us. Obviously, we're near the all-time high. So I think for me personally, I think NQ is just a great market to observe until we see a better piece of information, which I think would come with the potential liquidation down towards that 672 area and potentially get long off that. But as it stands right now, just for what my strategy would tell me, I don't see a great opportunity to be long NQ, and I don't see a great opportunity to be short NQ, which would keep me on the sidelines from trading that market. So, today, I think RTY is probably a decent opportunity if it pulls back aggressively, to potentially get that. Now, keep in mind on the daytime frame profiles, 2263 area, 2260 area is an area that I would definitely watch for a potential pullback into to get long. We're kind of in that range right now, but I'd like to see it, more in the real time hours. So, if an early trade comes in RTY, it's going to come against the low of the Globex session. Otherwise, just have to wait and be patient. I think ES will probably provide more trading opportunity today if, we continue with the range. Now, as far as numbers go this week, there's not a lot of crazy stuff, but there is a lot of Fed talk. Today there's really not much. The USDA is pretty big, though, supply and demand. So if you trade that side of the things, it's probably something you want to be aware of. Otherwise, I'm not really seeing much that way. And VIX itself is still kind of just hovering. So the more and longer VIX stays, 17, 18, 19 area, I think the more ranges we're going to get and the more opportunity for liquidation. But that's something, again, that I'm just willing to observe and kind of see how it plays out. So that's where I am coming into the week, coming into today, especially. We'll wait and see how it all plays out. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a great trading day, and I will see you again tomorrow.